Okay guys, welcome to another session. This is Golang 101, Introduction to Golang. Yeah, in our previous session, we did what was that thing that we did again? We did Git. Yeah, we did Git, and we did some experiments. We did some push, pull, and what have you. So this is the first time we'll be getting our hands dirty, doing some actual stuff. So just like I mentioned to you guys, we'll be using an already code base to use examples and work our way down the line. But I will just mention one or two things. I will make sure I explain every nitty-gritty of the whole system to you. So not to worry if you are saying a whole lot of things that you don't understand. Just let's take it gradually as the whole thing goes. Now we are doing Go. That means we need to have Go itself on our system, and that will take us to installation. So let's see where that leads us to. If you do Golang, that's you should find yourself in this site. That's the official Go website. And the fact that you are going through this mentorship doesn't mean that you will not do one or two research yourself, right? Where I come in is where there are issues in trying to do some stuffs. So we need to understand that, and that needs to be very clear. So where you're having challenges is where I will come in. When there are things already documented for you to, react or use, it's already there. You can just go and do it. But there are some times whereby you need a coach. That's where I will come in. Okay, like installation should just be a breeze, but there are possibilities where you will have issues installing, but they've tried as much as possible to make it easy to install. Depending on your platform, you can pick which one that you are currently using. It supports virtually every operating system that you can imagine. So most of us use Windows. So you can see your Windows and different Windows architecture. You have ARM, that's ARM, and what have you. So you have Linux, you have several distributions. So the major ones are just highlighted here. You could go and pick and be picky and pick the one you want to do. Okay, so like I mentioned, installation should be a breeze. The next thing you want to do is to set up your environment to use your Golang. When your Go is properly installed, there are some things that you can use to test if your Go is working currently, and that's using your terminal to check. I'll be using the integrated terminal with my, by now you guys should know the editor I'm using. I'm using TRAE. That's the editor I'm using. So it's also similar to VS Code, but that's what I'm using. The first point of action is to get yourself extensions that will make your life easy. You guys know that extension make your life easy, and we can overemphasize the need for them. So if you do Go, you should see official Google or Microsoft. Microsoft did theirs. Is this from Google? I think this is from Google themselves, because most times Microsoft also push tools for people to use. So this is the one I have installed, and I think you should do so too. Just go, right? And there are a couple of things. These are tools that you can use. I don't even know why I installed this, but this is the official one that you need to have. You can also read through it and see what it provides you. It's fine if you don't understand what all these things means for now, but just have it in place. The idea is that this is supposed to make your life easy, and the tooling and what have you. There's quite a lot of Go stuffs here, but as you get into it, you get to pick the need for your environment. You get to pick the need for your environment. Okay, there are some things that I won't mention, like the need for Go, why Go is special. Okay, let me just get that out of the way so that we know that we are doing a little bit of theory before we go into the coding thing. So I assume that by now you should have installed Go. If you haven't, the video assume you've installed Go, which is straightforward. And the next thing is that we want to check our installation. We use our terminal to do that. So I just pop in the terminal here. You should know how to do this. If you go to your terminal, this terminal, and just say new terminal, your terminal will pop out here, and you should be able to put in some commands, you know, things you want to do. So there's Go version, if I'm not wrong. So let's say Go. So when you do Go version, so I'm using Python example. Python, you have to check the version, but Go, you just do Go like this. And I'm using the latest version of Go, and you can even see the type, the architecture that my Go is running on. So it's very important. Well, not really that important, super important, but the thing you need to consider is, you know, your Go version. Most of the time you will be using, you know, the latest. As of this recording, this is the latest one we're using, Go 1.26.0. I think it just came out not quite long. Okay, so we have our Go installed and everything looks to be good. As part of things that you'll be having in the Go package, I think this also come with Go, this whole thing. It's also like a tooling thing, like I mentioned. What is tooling? Tooling is just to make the environment, the building of your code come together to, lack of a better word, to just build it and make it executable. Yeah. So lack of a better word, just for now, for your level. So look at it that way. So tooling are things you put together to make sure that the program reaches the audience you try to pass it to. So because you can be building and you say, oh, you want the audience to that should have this should be like a window people or Mac people or things like that. So that's what tooling is all about. So you will not worry about this one for a very long time. In fact, I don't even touch it. So you don't need to worry about the tooling for now. So okay, now what part is the next thing? Let's talk a little things about something little about Go. I'll just focus on things that I know that are not out there, or that I think that they are rare for you to see, right? It's not something that you see every day. So just a fact point about Go. Number one is that it's simple to learn. Yep, it's simple to learn. Well, you can see this one everywhere. It's simple to learn. Just look at it as your second Python. Python is simple. So this one too is also like Python. It's also very fast to execute, even though as of now, that will not be your worry and your care, but it's very fast. And it's also cleaner. You know, it's cleaner. It's not like Java. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. Now, we've already talked about downloading, installing. Let's see how we can write our first Go. Our first Go. How do you write your first Go? So because we are going to be doing stuff, so I'm just going to do something new from scratch so that you see that example. Taking for granted that you've already set up before. So, but let me not assume that you know you set up everything. So let me do it from scratch, and then you get to see how it works. So let's go ahead and set up a new folder, which you just end up creating folder structure in my system. But I don't have a choice. Let's go ahead and create a new project, and I will just put it under app here, and I say Go test. Okay, so we have it called Go test. Why is it also asking for project name? Okay, let me just open the folder because I've created a folder and it should just work right in there. Open folder, Go test. So this is just your simple folder. I didn't tell it what it's supposed to do yet, right? I didn't tell it what it's supposed to do. So the next thing is for us to create a module, because that's how Go works. You go through by creating a module. So as Go project grows, you start with external package, by writing Go module. So let's start with something very simple and see it work before we introduce Go module. So this is our file, which is blank. There's nothing inside here. Our first file you need to create is main.go. So this main.go is where you're supposed to write your Go code. We're going to write the most basic code ever, which is to print hello world. And now that's obviously very simple. Now you have to start with package. So unlike Python and many other programs, Go is packaged manage. That's the way you group the code that you write, by packages or in packages, right? So whenever you start a new line of code, you have to tell it the package that you are working with. So you can put these, like say, okay, this is my package name, or you can just say main. The reason why it's using Go test is because that's the name of the folder that we're in. So most times when you are writing your Go code, in the folder you are in and you are trying to create a package, it uses the folder name as a kind of package, name. So that's why you saw that thing came up like that. Okay, the next thing is for us to now start writing our code. And for your code to start executing, you need to have a main function. You need to have a main function, and the main function is written like so. The function is written with func, and that's part of the syntax on how to write a function. And then you have your main here, which is how the program knows where to enter to start executing from. Okay, and the next thing is we can then say hello world. Now this won't work this way. You have to print it to the screen. You can't just run a simple function. You have to call a package where the function is available. And to get that, you have to go through the core packages of the system. So fmt.print. So we'll talk about this packages later. So there are several of print functions that you can call. All of them does different things. So, but this is the most used one. So what this one does is just to do a new line. Now, when we do this, notice something that happened here. It imports fmt package. So this is a package. So everything in Go is packed in a package. That's why your own code also needs to be in a package. So whatever you are doing, it needs to be in a package so that someone else can also call it. So our package now is called main. Our package is called main. It can be called anything, but we're calling it main for that purpose, or for the purpose of our test of what we're doing. Now, the next thing for us is, how do we run this system, or how do we run this program? And by the way, there are several packages. This is not just the only package. There are like tons of packages. And as we learn Go, you will see how you can leverage the power of Go to do stuffs. Yep. Okay. Now, the next thing is, how do you run your Go code? Now that you finish writing the application, it's quite simple. You just go to the terminal and run your Go code. So I bring up my terminal, and notice what happened. It's auto save. So I have auto save enabled on my terminal. If you have been my students for now, you will know we talked about auto save in most of our classes. So by now you should be, your editor should be auto saving what you are doing. So to run this guy, we need to do go run main.go. You don't necessarily need to, okay, yeah, you have to put the Go there, because what are you running? You are running this file here. That's the file you are running. So not necessarily the package name. So one of the reasons why it's complaining here, well, let's get to see the reason. Okay, so it needed this file, but we'll get there. Let's run it and then let's move on to what it's saying. So what it's saying is that we needed to have like a Go module, but we'll get there. Let's just get this out of the way. Now, when you run your code, you can see that it generates hello world for you and then executes or it terminates your program, which is cool. You've successfully run your first Go code. This is the minimalistic form of your Go code. You can't go as, you know, lower than this, and you can go ahead and do other things, right? And then, but you have to run it each time. You have to run your code each time and to generate new results for you. Now, from things that you might have read about Go, Go is a compiled language, not an interpreted language like Python, which means whenever things happen, you have to run your code to see the latest change. When you make changes like this, your code needs to be executed. You have to run it again, and then you see your results. Yeah, there are things that can help you, like what's the name of this thing? Code runner, where you can just play and then it will just execute your code. I think we did that in Python. You just run, you just click play, and your code gets executed. Now, because of the stress of always coming to do this, there are tools that has been developed to make things, you know, work better. But before we introduce those tools, let's still go deeper and explain other fundamentals that you need to get yourself exposed to. You need to get exposed to other things. Okay, so what are the key fundamental things you need to put in your mind is packages. You start your code by, you know, declaring the package that you want to run, like the name of your package should be. And if you have another file here, let's say util, this will still have that package name called main, because they belong to the same kind of folder structure. When we look at a more robust system, you will see how we work with this. So just to have that at the back of your mind, that the first thing you need to first declare is that, oh, what package am I in, right? So it identify what you're about to do. Now, the next line is the imports. These are the things that you made use of inside your code. These are the stuffs you made up or you made use of inside your code, and is being used here. This is to tell the compiler that, hey, I need this guy to do some operation inside here, so that when the whole thing is being compiled, it knows what to do. Now, the next thing I want to show you is how to build your, even though that's the last thing, but let me just put it there since we are doing command line. If you want to build this code now and you run it on other systems, you just say go build main.go. Okay, so when you do that, go build main.go, it's available for you here. You can see the file is now executable. So if I open it, it should run normally in like a terminal. So if I click it now, it should just execute. So this is it here, even though it's very small, but that is our code working right there. So when I run that code, so this is now like a software. This guy now is now like your software, which you've just finished created, and it's 2.5 MB, and you executed it, it's created something like this. So yeah, we can argue in Python, to do something like this in Python takes a little bit of work, and you can see what Golang did just now. Just, you know, writing this, it builds this for you, and you can target every other platform. This is not comparing Python with Go in such a way, but Go is kind of simpler. Go is simpler, and it brings a lot of things ready-made for you so that you can easily enjoy. However, why Python try to, you know, Python is robust, so everybody has contributed to it and has added how they want to do things. But this one just follow its own process. It comes with all the batteries. When I mean batteries, not the things that makes it work off the shelf. Okay, let's now go a little bit advanced. Not too advanced though, just a little bit. And now that will be how to do modules. And what is module all about? Because that's one of the first thing it was complaining about. Whenever you are writing a Go package, you need to have a Go mode. It's called Go module, right? It's part of the requirement. You need this file. So this file it keeps track of all the utility or all the packages that you made use of. Yep, it keeps track of it. So how do you go ahead and do that? So first of all, you need to create that folder. You need to create that folder or that file. And there's a way that file can also be created automatically instead of you creating it manually. So it's advisable to use the terminal to create that file. So let's clear this and let me show you how that can be done. I'm going to delete this one just to keep our environment clean. And to do that, you do go mode tidy. So there are kind of some things you need to pay attention to. So let me see. I thought it was going to create this stuff for us. So I don't want to create it manually. There's a command that creates this for us manually, automatically. So let me see if I do it manually, it's going to update it for me, which I doubt. It won't do that for me, but let me just give it a try. Most times I don't go through this manual process. I just automatically run it myself. Okay. So it's asking us to create the first error we have is that we didn't have the name of the module, what we want to call our module. The second error saw the file, right? So let's remove the sum. The sum is going to be created automatically. So let's use this one and let's use the help that it gave us. Now, if you can see the help here, it's saying that we should specify the name of the module that we want to give it. Now, this module name is very important. And I have a pattern in which I name the module, but I'm not going to follow any pattern now. I'm just going to make it very easy so that we can explain it, easily. So I'm going to just give it just a name and say Go test, if it will agree. So it's agreed to our pattern. So immediately you did that, notice what happened. It created a module and called it this, right? There are still more things we can do to it. So let me now do Go tidy. Go mode tidy is to adjust the whole thing and make it and bring the go sum or go lock module packages into the system. Okay, so you can see immediately I did go mode tidy, it brought in this for me, and it was supposed to check the sum. The reason why it's not bringing the go mode sum is because I'm not using any packages in my module. No packages is being used. If you notice, this is one of the most simplest application. We're not using any third-party tool or third-party packages. So therefore, there's nothing to import. Now, what I want to say here is that this one is required when you are building large applications, because you're going to see it in my projects. That's why I needed to also mention it. I don't want you to work with the fact that you are using you're just building something without making it robust. Okay, let's look for adjusting this properly. Let me now tell you the definition how this should be done. Now, the way this should be done, and again, by the way, you can come and edit it directly here. You don't need to now write the command line. This is what we could also do. I can delete it and redo it properly. by manually writing it, module, go test, space, go, and the go version. You can actually do all that. But most time it's good to go by it through the command line. Okay, so I'm going to delete it and redo it again. Now, the first one I want to do again is this part. And this time around, I want to explain it better. Now, the go mode edit is to create the file and set the module name. The module name, it's supposed to be GitHub / your name and the product name. I will explain that again. The module name by pattern, by design, is supposed to be GitHub. And you'll be surprised, why are we using GitHub? GitHub is more like the generic stuff for all programmers now. Everybody has a GitHub account, right? So you have GitHub here, and it can be other Git platform, don't necessarily GitHub, but that's what we are using. Okay, so you say GitHub, and that's why we are bringing this example from. The next thing is that what your name, very important. Your name, that's when we did the Git account, that name that we use for me is arrow.wolo. I think, yeah, for me, that's my name. The next thing that follows is the product name, what you are doing. What I'm doing is go test. Like that's, the project name, I call it go test name. So look at the naming nomenclature. It's very important you follow this very well. It's very important that you understand this. I'll start again. github.com. This is constant. Your name is constant. Then eventually you end up with the product name or what the stuff is going to do. So when you have this, I think it wants us to create the file manually. So let's go ahead and create the file manually. Go.mode. Then let's run that again. So when you have this, you end up having something like this. So there are two instances, which both of them are acceptable. They accept both of them. So it's either you do this, or let me write them in different line so that you can then see and know the difference. So I'm pointing out this because this is very important. So you can either use this first one or the second one, but recommendation, we recommend the first one. That's what you should use. Now the next part is the tidy thing that we run. The go tidy thing, you need to be running it almost every time. Not like almost every time, when you have new package or you want to update your packages. So you can just say go mode tidy, and the system just does this thing. It knows the version of what you are running and then it uses it. And this can also be a way to say, oh, this your Go code is using version 1.25. That's what you want to use, and that's what it will use for whatever thing you are trying to do. Now let's now go ahead and do more things. Let's do more things. Let's try to use other packages out there. Let's use other packaging. So other packages meaning external packages by other vendors, by other people, because this what we have here now is within Go, so it's not something extraordinary. So we can look at other packages like time. There's nothing special about time, but I wanted to let's just add time there. So let's say we have something like the time is, then we can say time dot now. Again, you can just Google all these things. So if there's a particular thing you want to do, you can just Google it and you see the package. There's nothing, you don't need to cram anything. So you have to know what is. So by just doing this, we have that, and we can do our test by running our go run main, and you have your result there. The time is all this story, right? So this is also another package being used, but this is not what I want to show you, but I'm just showing you an example of how you can use a package. Now, a package that you can use, that we can test, I saw this package. Let's check it online so that you can see, because most times you'll be consuming other people's content or yeah, you'll be consuming other people's content. So I saw this guy, that's Fate, and then Color. This is what the package is all about, and it works in terminal. By the way, we will be doing quite a lot with other people's packages. Let me just show you the code that we'll be working with. Like, you know, I've told you guys several times that will be our main code. So you can see all the packages we are using. These are still core packages, kind of. These are also core packages. You know, when you want to see third-party people, there's a way you see them. Let me show you third-party stuff. So let me open another folder. Okay, so good. Do you see this guy now? This is one of the major tool that we use for web. We're going to talk about this in other class. This JWT. So there are tools that you will need, and then you can import it into your code. So you can see the naming convention I talked about, github.com, which is constant, the name of the guy or the company, and then the products of what you are trying to do. Of course, it can span to several / this one is saying version 5, but these are, you know, more advanced stuff. Okay, and now let's go back to what we're doing. So we wanted to check out this Fate guy and use it, right? Because the idea of programming is that you don't have to build everything. It's not by you building everything. It's by you extending what someone else has done. You are not trying to reinvent the wheel. That's not the point. You are trying to create a solution. You are building a solution. So now you guys, when you see this thing now, you understand what it means now. So do you see go mode? So that go mode is to structure. I don't want to, let's not open it, but you see how your own tool will start growing now. So this is a code that someone has written, and it's called color, right? I think it's supposed to, you know, dramatize in the color on your screen. I think that's what it's supposed to do. And you can see the usage. I'm not going to look at the usage yet. I just want to import it and use it. And this is supposed to also show you how that is done. How do you grab this guy's code now inside here and consume it? So the way to do that, there's a go function or go command line you call in to make use of that. So it's called go get. I think go get install, and then you put the path. So if I'm wrong, we'll find out the right solution to it. So I have the guy here, which is I think that quote is going to give me error in here. So I just copy the link somewhere. So this is it here. Go get this. If it didn't work, we'll try install. Okay, so it looks as if it's working. So it's trying to get this guy. Because I don't have time, I would have shown you where all these things is being saved on your system. So all these things now is being saved on a Go directory and using these formats, which is cool. Now you can see what it's saying. It said downloading this guy, and now it has it. We have the latest version of this guy. So let's see how to use it so that, you know, we can just make sense out of what we have. So if we go to the site again, I don't want to spend too much time. Just pick the first thing. Yeah, this is how to use it. Very simple. We just say color.crane, and then whatever we write here, we have a crane color. That's, we don't need to go and start looking at the advanced usage. Just test, and then we are good to go. Okay, so it means when we type color, so I'll just leave this one like this. So it means we can say color dot, and we should see some stuffs. Now, how was he able to do this? I don't know if what we click here is on that guy, but I'm seeing something here. It's saying it's importing from image/color, which is like different from what we're doing, but it doesn't matter. The guy has provided an example that we can use. You can actually paste the example, color the example, or rather copy and paste the example and see where you go from there. Okay, so I just copy an example, and when you are trying to save, because you've installed Go, it will try and import the right thing. That is the important thing of having an editor. So you can see that because we if you didn't install this guy and you try to use it, so you have to install the package you're about to use and then you make use of it. So this looks neat, coming from here, like so, like so. Now what happens if you don't follow this pattern? If you don't follow this pattern, it will just use go test or something, but yeah, it might conflict with other people's naming convention. Now immediately we did this, look at what happened. Now this is now kind of making sense. Gradually, eventually, it's now making sense. You understand what this guy does. It's kind of a way to create our name out there. It's like our name. Then this one says, oh, this is version 1.26. That's the version of Golang that we want to use to run this our package. Now it's saying that this guy, because we've used the code inside here, the module now requires it. It's using fatigue color. Now this guy itself, it's also using all these other guys, but that's not our business, right? That's not our business. So this guy is making use of other things to do stuffs. Now that we introduce what I call GoSum, automatically GoSum appeared automatically. You didn't have to do anything to bring in GoSum. What is the purpose of GoSum? It's just to map and track the correct version that the Go mode is using. To track the correct version. So you will not disturb yourself about the GoSum, just ignore it, but it's needed. Just like if you know front end as well, that's from Node.js, the same thing, we have package.lock. You don't worry about it, but it's needed internally for the system to know what's going on. Okay, so look at it like that. So you don't need to worry about, but it's very useful and it's needed. Now another thing that Google or Go add that make things very easy is that you can just click and make stuff works, right? You can click and make stuff works. So for example, you can run Go mode tidy here by clicking. Instead of you going to the editor, you can just click. Now as I click, it did something changed, which you didn't notice because it was so fast. Before, let me undo. Before it was like this, right? So when I say Go mode tidy just tidy the house. You don't have to think about it. You tidy the house and make things all right. Now this is saying that I require this guy, but this guy require these guys. Remember, I'm just explaining this. You will not be doing anything here. You will not be doing what? Anything. I'm just kind of giving the explanation. This is not really kind of needed at this point, but since we're just on the topic, let's look at it. Now there are instances where you want to force upgrade this version. Maybe let's say version 2 is out or version 1.19 is out, right? Remember versioning, we did versioning in Git, and I'm sure by now you should know what this versioning is all about, right? These are bugs fixes, this is new feature, and this is a major version. So these things, you'll be seeing it everywhere. You'll be seeing it everywhere, and it's good to know that all these things are, interwoven. Yeah. So let's say you want to upgrade this now or update it. You just click here, and it will update, whatever it needs to update. I think yes, something just update now. This was 13 before, so you can see it was 13 before. I've undo 13 before. So as we did this, it separated. I upgraded it. It changed to 14. So that's just showing you things that are happening on the background that you wouldn't need to worry about. This is something we need, but I like playing with this a lot. Okay, let's go back to the program and even run it and see if this thing is even working. Let's go. So if I do our terminal, I do go run main.go. Okay, so we should be seeing, yeah, so it's working. So we see red, and that's the purpose of the guy that we did. If we're going to be building a terminal application, you should know that this guy will be very, very handy to do, right? You can see the code that the guys, what they did, and that's the idea, that it should be able to do something like this for you. So if you're interested in something like this, you can go and knock yourself out. Go to the guy and then check out all the things you need to check out. But that's by the way. Now we need to move to another thing, and this is something that you will be needing. You cannot survive without it. You can't do Go without it, and that's how you will be able to, what will I put it now, test your Go code. Yes, that's how you'll be able to test your Go code. And what's that module? Now somebody asked me a question, like what was that question again? That I think Zoe, you're the one that asked me that question. I'm trying to recall that question, but that question has to do with compiling. Yeah, that if you have to be doing this every time. I think that's the question. Do you have to be running Go run main every time? The answer is no, you don't have to. There is a method I want to show you now, and that is using air. That's more like hot reload. You would have seen that in React. If you are coming from React, you should know what they call hot reload. Hot reload is when you make changes and then your code just appear. You don't need to compile. So air is doing a lot of things in the background for you. So let's see where this air guy is. What is this air guy all about? And by the way, the air is from somebody as well. They created it, and it's something that has been phenomenal, right? So you should also, in fact, not that you should also check it out. It is what you are going to be needing. You can't do without it, just like I said. So this is the guy. Very, very nice. Live reload for Golang apps. Live reload. So when you are making changes, you just upload and things like that. We are still coming to Gene. We'll still come and I'll still explain what Gene is. So today is an introduction to Go. And I think in our next class, we'll talk about Gene. That's the framework we'll be using to do what we need to do. Now, the installation process is on the site, but I will follow you guys and install it right away. Let's do that together. So the first thing is that it's asking to do is this is the installation process. The installation process, we're not going to be using it like a normal extension because the air itself is a software. Even though it was written by Go, it's also a software on its own, meaning you can execute it outside of Go. Yep, you can execute it outside of Go. So when you get to the site, let me copy this and put to the group so that you can see it in the bio. So I've sent it to the group. Open it and follow the procedure. It's pretty simple. So here are the motivation features, and the installation starts from here. Installation. So you can install via Go itself. So look at the process. I have it already installed. So, but let me do it again as if I don't have it. I want to install as if I don't have it. Notice the way I installed the other stuff the other time. I say Go Get. So Go Get is majorly for packages. So this one is Go Install. So Go Install, and you can see the path. I copied the path. So you notice the same principle. github.com, the guy's name, and then the products. And we have at latest. Latest is just that it will get everything that you need, I mean the most recent thing. So I already have it, but just watch the installation. I already have it on my system. It's just going to, try and do as if it's installing again. Go and install, do all the whole thing it needs to do. And once it's finished, let's look at what the next step is. And this works irrespective of either Mac or Windows, because you already have Go installed on your system. So it grabs all the things it needs. And that's one thing with all these things. When you are installing stuff like this, it knows that it needs all this other stuff. So it grabs them and makes it available on your system. Now this is if you are using other method. Okay, so this if you are using Go Get. So this Go Install, this Go Get. Okay, so this is the recommended method. The reason is that you can install it once and then use it everywhere. So I think this one is used once in a particular installation. This is also using another method, but remember, this is the recommended method, the first one. Just use it. Then you ignore all these other ones. Ignore everything. Ignore everything until you get to the usage. In fact, you just ignore everything. You just come and use it like this. So how do you use it? I hope you won't need to create this folder, but let's just go ahead and see. How do we use it? Now, you can use it by just saying "eh." It's as simple as just saying "eh." So when you say "eh," your program executes automatically. Now, the reason it's exited is because "eh" was designed to be used for backend web application, not for terminal. So when you typically run a terminal, it runs an end. The only time your terminal will stay in loop, you stay in what's the word now? Active mode is when you run it through a loop that is always waiting for input from you. We did that in Python when we did a banking app. Okay, so we can also do the same thing here. Now, this is your "eh," which has been done. It's installed and it's great, good to go. So make sure you also have "eh" on your system. If you are running a terminal application, you will always write "eh." Any change you make, you come back and type "eh." But our approach or our target is to build a backend application or a backend server. That is our target, and that's what we are going to be doing in the next class. So today is used to get a feeling of Go. Remember, if you notice, I'm not teaching you any concept of programming. It's not yet time. I'm not teaching you any concept of programming yet. It's just to get the structure running. And if you look at it, how many lines of code did I write? 13. So I didn't explain anything. It's on purpose. I didn't explain function. I didn't explain method. I didn't give you any concepts. It's on purpose. So what I wanted to use this opportunity to do is to show you the structure of Go. Yep, the structure of Go and the kind of number of files that I need for things to work. So your first file have to be main. Well, not in name, but your function name has to be main. This one is required. Yep. And then your package can be anything, but traditionally it's also called main. Okay. Then you have to have your package, which I extensively explained as well. Why all these things are the way they are. Let me try and run go mode tidy again and see what happens. Okay, still the same thing. We didn't make any change. The only thing we just did was to install "eh." Notice our installation of "eh" was a global installation, so it was not used as any form of plugin or any form of import. It's a tool. So those are the tooling thing I'm talking about. It's a tool that allows us to execute our code, and that tool will become more useful when we're running a backend application, which we will be doing in the next class. So I'm open for questions that I have on live, if it's gonna help you guys. So I will take questions that I have on live. But while I'm taking those questions, you can drop your own question in the comment section. You can drop your question in the comment section while I'm taking those questions. Okay, so someone says, okay, I think when I was trying to figure out the version thing, someone was helping me with version when I was getting an error here. So to check your Go version, you do Go version, no versions. You just type Go version. So in other programming language, you can do V like this. You can do version like this. And yeah, Go is just like this. And I think I missed it the first 2 times. Okay, within the protocol, anything is possible. So I'm trying to get the question that someone is asking. Send in your question. Okay, so this one will be done next week. Somebody was asking if we can do a server. So server will be done next week, not this week. And once we start server now, we will now start talking about the concept that you need to learn in programming. We need to now start talking about programming itself. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's question. So there's no question online. There's no question online. So our next class, we'll be talking about, let me show you what we'll be talking about in the next class, so that will help you to prepare for what we are doing. So take what we've done today, go and install. I know most of you have done the installation and even gone past this. I want to now steer your direction to what we'll be doing next, and that's using Gene. Yep, using Gene. So let me show you. So there are several frameworks, but trust me, you can't go wrong with Gene. You can't go wrong with Gene. There are several frameworks, by the way. So this has been on for forever. You can't go wrong with Gene. So this is the don't need to read the document, but you can go ahead and read the documentation if you want to. But I'll be giving you just the things you need to focus on, so that you will not get drowned in all the documentations you have here, because there's quite a lot of stuff, right? I'm always interested at their GitHub page. So everybody's on GitHub, guys. Everything is, so all the things you are trying to do, they are just waiting for you on GitHub. So you can see their URL, very easy, github.gonic/gene. That's it. So all their code is there, but you are not worried about this. It's just how to use it. Most times when you get to their first page, you can get up and running immediately. So you saw how we were able to just do what we need to do just from the homepage of GitHub. So the same thing here, you can start, even though this is a little bit, detail, right? So you can see how to start using. In fact, we can even do it right now, but I want you guys to relax and understand what's going on before we move on. But I think I can throw this in. I'm not sure if I should throw this in or wait till the next class. So let's throw it in. And let me give you guys a little, even though I think we'll do it again in the next class, but let me just use it to buttress the air thing. Yes, let me use it to buttress the air very well. So Gene, what is Gene? Gene is a framework, a web-based framework, right? So that's what Gene is. And how do you install it? You just import it like this. Of course, we have to do go get Gene. Remember, go get Gene. So let me do the go get Gene thing. If you try to import it this way and use it, you can see that it will not work because it doesn't see it in the library. You don't have it installed. So you need to now go and get a package. So because of the AI tool I have, it's trying to do it for me, which I click, and then I think it has installed it, right? AI is making things very interesting now. I didn't even need to go and open terminal. So when I click it, it's trying to, I think that's what it's trying to do, going to install it. So while it's doing that, let's go ahead and continue reading our documentation. At least now you know about go get install. Okay, so the next thing is telling us how our structure should be, when we want to write our web application. That's our backend, how it should be. So you can just copy the entire code, copy and paste, and then I will explain it. So let's copy the entire code. That means it will clear all the, well, those ones are demo anyway. It will clear everything and it will just leave us with this. So not bad. Let's just copy and paste. So I'll copy and paste. I have everything there, and let's read what is going on. You are aware of this already, package main, and you are aware, well, you're not aware of this log. So let me correct it to the one that you are used to. So you are used to, I don't know if I should correct this or just leave it like that. Okay, let me leave it like that. So there are various ways in which you to send things to the terminal. You can use log of FMT. FMT, contains prints and what have you. So this one is this. Okay. Now the next thing is net/HTTP. Net/HTTP are net protocol. like an internet protocol for executing web stuff and things like that. Then this is Gene itself. Okay, I'm going to remove all the comments so that the whole thing is going to be small, and then I can explain better from there. So these are the things I need to use. So this one, you didn't write this one yourself. Automatically, when you do things, they will come. So I'm going to delete it and show you. Save. You see that they are coming back. So I don't count this as like line of code that you have to write. So once you delete it, just click on save, Control S, it will come back, because the ID will go and look for, hey, what do I need? What do I need? What do I need? And then fix everything back. Okay, so the first line of code we need to do is to get instance of Gene, like your package Gene, and get the, when I mean instance now, more like default settings of Gene, because I want to do stuff with Gene, right? So one of the things I want to do is I want to do get. Now I will teach you guys what's it called now, REST, using REST. So in using REST, there's what we call method, get method. There's so many kind of methods, but this is just a get method, and this is to test an endpoint called ping. I want to test a endpoint called /ping. So just for you to see that it's dynamic, I'm going to say /i, hi. That's the endpoint I want to call my own /hi. Okay, and I'm trying to avoid complications. So this has to follow like this. So this is a, what's it called now, closure function. Now what is this part talking about? Everything that's coming from the web is inside here. Just look at it that way. Everything that is, because we're about to go to the web and browser now, we're about to open the browser. So when a user make a request, everything that is coming to the browser is inside here, and when it's inside here, you need to now manipulate it and return. That's what is happening inside here. So this guy holds all that is being sent from the browser, and from here you can check the status. You can see that I'm checking the status, and that's why this guy came up here. So this is just a fixed string. So this one could literally be 200. So I could literally, you can see that it has gone. I could literally say if the JSON code is 200, meaning there's no error from the backend, then say message is equal to hello world, right? This is just a way for me to write a JSON. Okay, we'll talk about JSON later. So just have this one like this. Now instead of me typing 200, 400, because every request you make to the code, and that's why they try to make it a constant. Where is that this thing again? I can't remember. Status. Okay, yeah, that's it. Hope I'm correct. Yep, correct. So that's how they now make a, we call it constants, right? And one of the thing about Golang is that you can actually go and look at the code. So let's go and look at this. Let's peep and see what's going on here. I know we're going to rush back. So if I click here now, it shows everything. This is a code written by themselves. You can see status.go. Package name is HTTP, which confirms this guy here, HTTP, right? And then you can see all the status. This is just fixed constants. This is the one that we just select now. You're not supposed to come and change anything here. This is just you just looking, you're just curious. You're not changing anything here. This is just fixed numbers, and they have their meaning. If you see error 508, it means something. So error or status 200 means okay. That's what it means. So let's move on. Now the idea is that if at any point there's an error, that's what this one is saying. So what is happening here is that it says run, but while running, if there's an error, log the error. That's why this one is here. So I know this is a little bit complex, but not to worry. When we go into coding, we'll explain this on its own. Okay, let's see how this will work. Let's go ahead and check. We run our terminal. What are we going to do? Remember, we're going to run a. Just say a. It's as simple as that. So once we say a, it's still running our old code, I don't know why it's running the old code. So you can see that it's still saying this is red, but let me do that again. It's still running our old code. So there are several reasons that could cause this. Now let me do go run mode tidy, right? Of course, all these things are going to go away once I click this button, and we could do it manually by just doing go mode tidy. So once you do that, it cleans this guy up for you and make it what it's supposed to be, right? It does what it's supposed to do based on the fact that you've changed your code here and your code is now calling something different, right? So you do this. So let's see if it's going to, you said it's going to be correct now. So if you do air, yep, it's building and it's doing the main thing, and we're waiting for it to actually start the server, which is good. It has actually started our server. And look at what it did. Our server is on port what? 8080. So let's test it and see if it's working. Let's test that. So let's open up our browser and go to localhost port 8080. Remember, we have the endpoints to call. We have an endpoint to call, and the endpoint to call is, let's look at the code. Don't forget the endpoint to call is hi. We're calling this endpoint. So if we go and look at it, notice something that happened. If you didn't specify any endpoints, it just comes up with this error because you didn't define how this is going to be used or how it's going to be executed. That's another day, another thing for another day, or another stuff for another day. So if I do hi, because that's the hi we register that we want to see. So if you, that's what happened, you get your hello world there. And let's even do something interesting. Let's say we want to build up time. Let's say time is equal to time.now. Remember, we now know how to do this one. Once you do something like this, now notice I made a change, and as I made change to the code, this guy got refreshed automatically. I didn't need to do anything here. This one gets refreshed automatically. So I just come here and refresh this code and see what happens. That is how you run Golang without stress, right? The environment just works for you. So if you made another, let's now do another endpoint. We want to create another endpoint, but before we create the endpoint, I will test it to show you that it does not exist. So let's do the ping. So if you do ping does not exist, obviously. It's giving you page not found. So let's just duplicate this and create ping. So I just say ping here and I respond with pong message, and I just say pong. So if I save, notice when I save, it's trying to rebuild the whole thing, and finally it builds the whole thing. And this happened in the background, so you don't need to worry and be looking at it build. You don't need to worry and be saying, oh, has it finished building? Just write your code and then go to your terminal or your browser and your result there. So that's what is happening. So this is how to call the backend. Again, this is still just testing air. So I must stress, we're just testing air as it is. We still have a special class for your gene, for gene, and for talking about programming. All these things I've not explained. JSON, what's the word now? Yeah, JSON and all these things. I've not explained those things. Objects, don't worry about that. When we go into the course itself fully, we'll explain that. So what have we been done in summary? What have we done in summary? So this is what we've done in summary. We've been able to install Go, right? We've been able to have the extension also installed because that's also super important. We've seen the bare minimal requirement for setting up a Go file, which is the fact that we have to have a main. This one is automatic, and then we put what you want to run here. We've also seen how to use third-party packages. We use color, and then we use gene, and we also learn how to use air. We have not written or have not started explaining the Go concept to you yet. So that's will be all for tonight if there's no question.